Hello everyone, you're welcome back to Mitch Fits. Here we learn tips, tricks and techniques of making beautiful and amazing outfits. So today I'll be showing you guys how to make this very beautiful princess ball gown with cloudy effects or ruffles on the lower part of the dress. So these are the fabrics I'll be needing for it. I have my lace fabric, I have my doll face satin fabric, and also my lining and the nets I'll be using to create the ruffles and also to create the lower part of the dress, which has the gathers from the waistline. So these are the fabrics that I'll be using to create this dress, and each of these fabrics are of different yards. The blue one here is the one I'll be using to create the lower parts of the dress, which has the gathers from the waistline. Then I'll be using the doll face satin as the inner for the blue net, and then the lining to cover up the stitches. So these nets will be only for the ruffles on the lower part of the dress. You need at least 5 yards of net fabric that will be cut in stripes and joined together to create the ruffles on the lower part of this dress. And this dress is for a 3 to 4 years old baby girl. So guys, if this is your first time on my channel and you'd love to see more of my videos, please click on that subscribe button and hit on the notification bell to stay updated whenever I post a new tutorial video. And if you'd love to go through the process of making this beautiful dress with me, then let's get straight into it. I'll be starting first with this satin fabric, and it's measured by 60. So this I have here is just 1 yard. I'll fold my 1 yard in two like so, like you can see me do right here, and then measure the length I'll be using for the dress. So this I have here is 18 inches. I don't want it to be as long as the blue net, that's why I'm using 18 inches for it. So I'm going to divide this part in two, the part with the 60 inches, and if I add this together I'm going to have almost 4 yards, because 60 into it's 120 inches, which is about 3 yards and 33 inches. So this is what I'm going to use for the waistline, and then I'll join the parts that has the 18 inches in length together to make it very wide. So I'm just going to stitch these both parts together to make up for that length. After stitching them together, I'll use it to cut my lining, but I'll make my lining a little shorter than the satin fabric. The next I'll be cutting is the top of the dress, or the half length of this dress. So I have this beautiful fabric here to cut the top of the dress, which is less than half of a yard. So I'm just going to fold it in two like you can see me do right now, and then I'll start to take in the measurement. The first measurement I'll be taking here is the shoulder to the waistline, and the measurement I'm using for shoulder to waistline is 9.5 inches. So I'll just mark my shoulder line like so to make sure it is straight, and then rule these points together. So basically what I'm doing right now is dividing my fabric in two, because the whole length of this fabric is about 22 inches. The next measurement is the neck width. I'm using 2.5 inches for the wideness of the neck, and also use 2.5 inches for the neck depth. So I'm just going to come down from the shoulder line and then mark 2.5 inches. After that, I'll connect these points together to form like a round neckline. I'm using 2.5 by 2.5 inches here to avoid discomfort around the neck. You know, children do not like to be uncomfortable with whatever they put on. So the next step is the shoulder measurement divided by 2, and I'm using 9 inches for the shoulder measurement, so that divided by 2 is 4.5 inches. I'm just going to mark that down and then come down by half of an inch from that marked point for the shoulder slope. I'll connect this point back to the neckline like you can see me do right here, but for an adult you make use of 1 inch. From this point you go down by 5 to 5.5 inches for the armhole depth, depending on the body size of the child. So I'll mark 5 inches here, which I'll later on turn to 5.5 inches here. Now from this point you take your shoulder measurement on this line, starting from the center front, to have a straight line from the top. So I'm going to mark it here and then connect my shoulder line to this point. So this will give me a straight line for me to be able to put in my armhole measurement. So I'll connect it back to the side seam area, The next thing I'll impute now is the bust measurement, which I am using 22 inches. You can as well do 21 inches for the bust measurement. So I'll be adding 1.5 inches for my side seam allowance. But if you are using inseam finishing, then please do half an inch for the side seam allowance. Now I'll take my half length measurement, which I'm using 9.5 inches for it. So I'm going to mark my 9.5 inches from side to side and then connect the points together to form a straight line. For the waistline, I would also do 22 inches, which is 5.5 inches when divided in 4. So I'll add my 1.5 inches for my side seam allowance because I'll be using my lining to turn this side. I'll be using half inch to turn the side, leaving 1 inch for the side allowance. Back to the armhole to create the armhole curve. Place your tape on the shoulder slope and mark the midpoint between the shoulder slope and the chest line. Go in by half of an inch on this point, then connect from the shoulder slope into the chest line. So I'm going to connect with my ruler from the shoulder slope and then curve it into the chest line. After doing this, add half of an inch for the armhole seam allowance. Now we have the front pattern set. We're just going to cut this out and would use this to cut out the back pattern. Now I have it trimmed out and this is how it looks like on the inside when I open it up. I'll be trimming off half of an inch on the hemline to leave just half inch to join this top to the lower part of the dress. So I'll put this together now to cut out the back part. I'll place my front pattern on the other fabric to cut out the back and then leave the space for my zipper allowance. So I'll mark out where the neckline for the front stopped and mark out my shoulder line. As you can see, the front neckline depth is 2.5 inches, but I'm going to do a deep back neckline for this dress. So I'll come down from this point by 4.5 inches. You can do 5 to 5.5 inches if you want it a bit lower than the chest line. So for me, I'll do 4.5 inches. Now I'm going to make a curved V neckline for this dress. That's what I'll be doing for it, a V neckline. So I'll mark out where my shoulder line stopped on the back pattern and then add half inch on the top of the shoulder slope. So this will be for the seam allowance of the back shoulder, and then connect the shoulder line to the zipper allowance. Once you have this inner set, this is what you'd use to cut out your lace fabric. For the zipper area, go in by half of an inch to create the center back slope. I am doing 1.5 inches for the zipper allowance. That is half inch to turn with my lining, leaving 1 inch for the zipper allowance. And with this, we're totally done with the cutting of the half length. So this is how the back neckline looks like. Now I'm going to open it up for you to see. So when I stitch it, it's going to be like so. Now it's time for me to cut out my lace fabric with this in. I'll take this away to prep my lace fabric. So guys, I felt like blue and pink are like soft and beautiful colors and they do match when you put them together. That's why I decided to mix them up, and I believe it came out really beautiful as expected. I'm done with cutting it and this is how it looks like when I put them together. So I'm going to place them together now and you can see how beautiful it actually looks like. The next thing to do is for me to cut out the back pattern and then cut out the lining for the back and the front. Now let's go to the lower part of the dress. I have my net fabric folded in multiple times here. This is the length of the net and this is the side of the 5 yards folded. I am going to fold it again for it to be easier to measure and to cut. So I'll take my tape rule now and measure how long I want the lower part of this dress to be. I'll be using 25 inches for the length of the lower part of the dress. So don't forget, the top is 9.5 inches while this lower part will be 25 inches, and the inner for the net is 18 inches, just a little below the knee line. So I'll just mark out my 25 inches from side to side, rule it out and then cut this out. You know guys, you can make the inner for this net as long as the net is, but I decided to keep it short to 18 inches. So I'm just going to trim off the rough edges on both ends to keep it straight, and then we'll move to the next. So I have turned the neckline and the sides of the front and the back top, and also held the zipper allowance for the back, as you can see. This is how they both look like right now, and I love how the pink inner blends in well with the blue lace. So the next thing here is to hold the both shoulders together and shape this top according to the body measurement. Now I'll take this away for the next step. To make the ruffles for the lower part of this dress, I would measure in stripes 4 inches. Guys, I want you to know something. If you are using about 5 yards to create the gathers for the waistline, then cut up to 25 to 30 yards of stripes to create the ruffles for the hemline. That means if you fold your 5 yards together to cut out the 4 inches stripes, then you'd have to cut out 5 to 6 pieces of the stripes, and in that way your ruffles will come out full and nice. After cutting out all my stripes, I'm going to join them together to make it very long to form one whole stripe before I start stitching on it. So to make the ruffles, you make a loose stitch on the center of the stripe. You can see the way I'm doing it right now, but I'm going to be making 2 loose stitches on the middle point of this 4 inches stripe. Remember, this is a very long piece, so be careful when stitching on it so your thread doesn't cut, because it takes a whole lot of hard work to make the gathers for the ruffles. So I have made the blue ruffles. This is the first one out, and you can see how I dragged together the net to create it. You can see how beautiful it's looking already. So when stitching on the middle point, make sure to open up the net so that you'll be able to stitch it properly. So here I am dragging the net together so to create the ruffles. Just hold on to the thread from one end firmly and start to pull in the net together. So that's what I did to create the ruffles like this. Now I'm going to stitch the yellow ruffles on top the blue ruffles. So to do that, I'll just open this up. I'll open it up on the middle point, like you can see me do right now. I'll open it up properly so it will be easy for me to place the yellow on top and stitch on the center of the both piece. I would first stitch these both together before I add the pink on them, so it will be easier for me to put the ruffles together. Here you can decide which of them you want to be on the middle, but I did the blue on the middle. So now I'm going to take this to my sewing machine to start to stitch together. So guys, when stitching, make sure to open the net up as you stitch along so it doesn't fold inside when you are stitching, because when it folds in you might not even see it. So this is what I am doing right here. I'm opening up the net and stitching the ruffles to the hem of the dress. Here I have already fixed the half length to the lower part of the dress, and I've also fixed on my zipper. Guys, this is how the hemline looks like right now with just the 2 ruffles fixed, that is the blue and the yellow ruffles. After this, I'll go ahead to fix on the pink ruffles on the dress, and that will be the last one. I'm having just 1 layer of these ruffles. You can do as many as you'd wish. So guys, so I've come to the end of this beautiful tutorial, and this is the finished look of this beautiful princess ball gown. It came out really beautiful as expected, with all the colors blending pretty well. So this is how it looks like on the inside with the satin inner, and I attached a medium weight net inside to create some volume for the waistline. Then I finished this dress up with this beautiful design on the chest line just to add some extra beauty to the dress. So this is what I did. I cut out a very long piece of this blue net and start to stitch it on the chest line section by section. I started it from the zipper area through to the chest line to the other end of the zipper. So the width of this net is about 1 yard, and the length I dropped from the neckline is about 22 inches. To fix the net around the chest line, just start stitching this from the zipper area close to the zip, and then put a finger in and adjust the net, then stitch on that part. Put another finger in, adjust and stitch. If you can't do this, just go ahead to use pins to hold them down together. Once you get to the armhole, adjust the sleeves very well, like open it up as you can see me do here, then measure about 4 inches to the front armhole and stitch it down there, or you can use pins to hold it down together. then stitch on it. So after that, you do the same thing as you put your finger in and stitch just continuously till you go to the other end of the zipper. So guys, we have come to the end of this beautiful tutorial. I hope you enjoyed making this very beautiful princess ball gown with me as much as I enjoyed it. Please guys, if you find this tutorial helpful and you'd love to try this, please give this video a thumbs up. Just hit on that like button, and also if this is your first time on my channel, please click on that subscribe button and hit on the notification bell for more detailed tutorials like this. Also, please share this video for more people to get to see this and learn how to make this beautiful dress as well. And guys, you can join me on my other social media pages where I drop short clips of my tutorial videos. So for now, I'll see you in my next video. Bye.